Hello, welcome to Business News. I am Frank Komalapi, and here are some of the reports we're filing now. The 2022 budget presented by President Muhammadu Buhari last Thursday has drawn comments and analysis in different quarters. Our president, who appeared before the joint session of the National Assembly, is proposing 16.39 trillion in the 2022 appropriation bill. This is 12.5% higher than the 2021 budget. Speaking on our flagship program, Business Breakfast, earlier in the day, a financial analyst, Mukhtar Mohammed, harped on proper implementation of the 2022 budget.
Well, we've always known the devolved in terms of figures. The figures keep increasing the previous year to this year, the previous year. So it's not something we should be so excited about, because we've seen this increment since this administration came to power. Not even this administration, previous administration, they always tend to increase it from the previous year to the next year, to the previous years. But what we need to see is performance in terms of the budget. We want to see how the performance level of this budget is, how we're able to move, how many projects we're able to do. Those are what we should be looking for, not because of the numbers are increasing. And what these numbers are increasing, how many is going for capital expenditure, how many is going for recurrent expenditure percentage-wise. Those are things that makes us to be glad about it or not. Because when you see the budget now, you tend to be excited. But remember that most of those budget money there will be used for debt repayment. Then in terms of capital project, we have to borrow to do the capital project, and also in terms of recurrent expenditure, we've not reduced anything. It was better than what we, like I said, it's not about when we want to look at the budget, we shouldn't be looking at the figures. We should be looking at the implementation. Let's see whether this is going to be the best implemented budget from this administration.
Right.
And like the president pointed it, this will be their last full year budget. So let's hopefully think that they are going to implement it differently. But when you look at it critically, you are not seeing anything. We have major differences. I can commend them for some of the differences. Like you've pointed out there, I see a conservative view in terms of the price of crude oil, which is exciting for me. This is the first time we're having administration comes in and giving us a somewhat conservative figure, even if crude oil is selling above $80 per barrel, and they are reducing to $53 per barrel. For me, that's the most commended thing in this budget.
Away from there now, the price of a 12.5 kilogram of liquefied petroleum gas, otherwise known as cooking gas, might increase from the current price of between 7,000 and 8,000 naira to 10,000 naira before December if the crisis in the sector is not addressed. This was disclosed by the Executive Secretary of the National Association of LPG Marketers, BASISN. The marketers have expressed concerns over the supply shortage, which is rocking the sector and has led to a recent series of increases in the price of the commodity. The increase in prices of gas has driven more Nigerians to seek alternative sources of fuel like charcoal, firewood, sawdust, among other energy sources, whose prices have started skyrocketing as well. And now Nigeria is missing, as almost 140 countries have taken a decisive step towards forcing the world's biggest companies to pay a fair share of tax, with plans for a global minimum corporate tax rate of 15% to be imposed by 2023. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development said that 136 countries and jurisdictions had agreed to join and accord to impose a two-pillar global tax reform plan, describing it as a significant milestone. According to Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, Estonia, Hungary and Ireland are the last set of countries to join the agreement, which means the deal is now supported by all and G20 countries. However, Nigeria, Kenya, Pakistan and Sri Lanka are yet to join the agreement. And in the meantime, the Central Bank of Nigeria has directed all commercial banks to review their loan exposure to oil and gas, telecommunication, agriculture sectors, among others, as this will guarantee the stability of their operations. Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele made this known at the Financial Market Dealers Association annual conference in Lagos. He further urged banks to critically access the third-party provider risk, including businesses within the value chain funded. Emefiele promised to improve access to credit for micro, small and medium enterprises, as well as stimulate consumer spending to further enhance employment via the 5-year policy thrust of the Apex Bank, spanning from 2019 to 2024. And on the African scene, Kenya led the world in completing China-funded mega project ahead of schedule under Beijing's Global Infrastructure Development Strategy. Findings of a new study by a top U.S. research university suggest the report established 5 projects in the country were done ahead of deadline between 2013 and 2017, putting the country top amongst countries which have benefited from China's Belt and Road Initiative (BRI). Researchers at the College of William and Mary attributed the fast pace of implementing China's project in Kenya partly to President Uhuru Kenyatta taking ownership and Chinese contractors acting quickly to stifle resistance. China has over the last 2 decades established itself as a financier of first reason for many low and middle income countries, providing record amounts of international development finance, according to the researchers. The findings covered over 13,427 projects worth 843 billions, equivalent of 93.23 trillion shillings in 165 countries, all funded by China over 18 years. And on the international scene, the U.S. benchmark, the West Texas Intermediate, has broken through $80 resistance zone to currently stand at $81.30 a barrel, a 7-year high on the back of a global energy crisis hindering the progress of major economies and showing no signs of easing as a result of an uptick in economic activities and restrained supplies from major producers. The global benchmark, the Brent crude, is up 1.94%, currently trading $84 a barrel after gaining nearly 4% last week. The U.S. oil, the West Texas Intermediate, is up 2.35%, currently trading $81.30 a barrel, the highest since late 2014. Oil prices have risen as vaccination efforts have brought nations out of coronavirus lockdowns, supporting a revival in economic activities.